This is Nick.
This is Jack.
It's Wednesday, Ceviche Wednesday, June 4th, and today's pod is the best one yet. This is a T-Boy.
The top 3 pop business news stories you need to know today.
Oh my God, Yetis, we're going to make you the most interesting person in the room today. Jack, are these the 3 best stories we've ever done?
For our first story, Nick, Netflix stock hit an all-time high yesterday. Why?
Netflix's annual Contentfest shows us the paradox of the Netflix.
For our second story, Dr. Squatch is the biggest soap startup in the country.
Because Dr. Squatch went where no corporate sponsor would dare go. Stand-up comedy.
And our third and final story is the most trusted news source in the country. For the 4th year in a row, it's the Weather Channel.
The Weather Channel, because here's what you do when you own the most important word of the weekend. The weather.
Weather is the most important word of the weekend.
That is. It's huge.
But Yetis, before we hit that wonderful mix of stories.
Fantastic mix of stories for Ceviche Wednesday, Jack.
T-Boy has the perfect conversation starter for your next date night.
Because it's about your next date night. And how tall you are.
The topic? Tinder's height filter.
That's right. If you could, would you filter your potential dates by your preferred height?
Here's the context. Match Group, which owns Tinder, just announced some pretty ugly earnings.
Yeah, users shrank 5%. They're cutting 13% of their workforce, and the stock is down 10% this year.
So Tinder is making a desperate move to get you back on the app. Height discrimination.
That's right. They're testing letting users filter based on height.
6'4"? Swipe right.
Or maybe, Jack, you prefer a short king.
5'2". Swipe right.
Or maybe, Jack, you like to aim for average.
5'9" and 3/4. Just right.
Well, Yetis, it's because of this that men on dating apps inflate their height by an average of 2 inches.
Can you believe that? It's match misinformation, and it's rampant among men.
That's why our buddy Timmy only uploaded pictures with people who he was taller than.
I'm tall compared to these other people.
Men, they will literally fake their height before going to therapy.
Now, we should remind everyone listening, women say that height does not matter to them.
Which of course means that height does matter to them.
So bestie, since you can't see us, this is an audio pod. We want to be transparent with you.
Jack and I are both 6'1",
which means we're really 5'11".
because we rounded up from 5'10.5".
We're actually both 5'10".
Barely.
We're extremely average in the height department.
Barely. Jack, let's hit our 3 stories.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in the dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, Netflix's stock hit an all-time high yesterday. The reason?
Ta-dum! But Netflix's annual Tudum Contentfest is also the antithesis of Netflix.
We'll explain. But Jack, let's start by sprinkling on some Silicon Valley context. Steve Jobs broke the internet when he unveiled the iPhone in 2007 at a big product event.
Elon Musk did the same thing in 2019 when he unveiled the Cybertruck. Remember those broken bulletproof windows?
Yeah, I do, Jack.
That was quite a stunt.
Add it all up, Yetis, and you are not a big tech business unless your CEO has hosted a massive event with a product unveil like David Blaine.
Well, Netflix wants in on the internet breaking. So, starting in 2020, they've hosted an annual content unveil for everything coming to the streaming platform.
Basically, Netflix is treating their content like it's a tech product.
And this event they do every year is called Ta-dum!
And last weekend it happened at the Forum in Los Angeles.
By the way, media companies do something similar, but they do it for advertisers.
It's called Upfronts. We've actually been to one of them. You pitch your shows to advertisers. It's pretty common.
Netflix is pitching their shows and their movies for the coming year, but they're doing it for us consumers.
So Jack, what is the best way to think about Netflix's annual unique content fest?
It's basically a live concert of just movie trailers.
Yeah, you're going to need 2 thumbs up and a whole bunch of Rotten Tomatoes to get through this thing.
Now, the blockbuster of the Tudum event was Frankenstein.
True, Oscar Isaac plays Dr. Frankenstein. It's coming to theaters this fall.
It's Guillermo del Toro's adaptation of Mary Shelley's classic book.
Yeah.
And based on the trailer, you're going to pee your pants.
Yeah, you're going to need a new couch. Speaking of peeing pants, Jack, Adam Sandler and Shooter McGavin were also on stage to promote Happy Gilmore 2.
The trailer was hilarious. It includes cameos from Ben Stiller, a bunch of pro golfers, and of course, not of course, Bad Bunny is in this movie.
Tap, tap, taparoo. Also, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are going to star in their 5th movie together.
And Daniel Craig is doing his 3rd Knives Out movie.
Then Netflix dropped trailers for Wednesday Season 2, Squid Game Season 3, and Stranger Things Season 5.
Oh, you want some sweat? They brought the sweat too. They hyped WWE wrestling and NFL football, both live events happening this year on Netflix.
And in case well-written screenplays don't interest you, Netflix put the Love is Blind cast on the kiss cam during the live event.
There was some making out. There was some snogging.
So add it all up, Jack, and basically this Netflix event would have made a TV Guide magazine explode.
It was a shock and awe campaign that would impress Donald Rumsfeld.
And here's the strategy. If you're the competition of Netflix, how do you feel right now, Jack?
You feel overwhelmed and demoralized.
Yeah.
If you work at Peacock, you're like, oh, crap. Netflix has all that this year.
Like our lacrosse coach used to say, Jack, compete at a level the competition is unwilling or unable to sustain.
And for consumers, it makes you feel like you have to subscribe to Netflix if you want to be culturally relevant.
But here's what we found fascinating. The biggest fan of this Netflix content fest was actually Wall Street.
Netflix stock hit an all-time high yesterday. It's up 92% in the last 12 months.
But pause the pod yet is because Jack and I looked at this thing and honestly, we didn't love it.
I honestly hated it. And you know what?
What?
You did too.
We should whip up a takeaway on this, Jack. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Netflix?
The worst thing that you will watch on Netflix is, ironically, their Tudum event.
Yetis, the way we see it, Netflix's Content Fest event is antithetical to why people love Netflix in the first place.
And it showed. The live event crowd was lackadaisical, and critics panned the event as exhausting.
Here's why. Netflix offers something for everyone, which means Netflix offers everything, and we saw that on display on Saturday.
Here's the issue. Nobody wants everything.
Nobody wants everything.
We each have our own unique, specific niche of interests of things we care about.
In fact, that's why we each get completely different homepage experiences when you sign on to Netflix and watch Netflix.
After all, Netflix is based in Silicon Valley. They're more similar to TikTok than they are to Disney.
Like, Jack, can you imagine if you opened TikTok and saw everything on the internet? Like, you'd hate that.
The curation is why TikTok is so good.
So, besties, this Tudum event, it was loved by Wall Street. But ironically, it's anti-Netflix, and we give it 2 thumbs down.
That's why the worst thing you'll watch on Netflix is Tudum.
For our second story, the biggest soap startup in America, it's now Dr. Squatch, the $2 billion soap brand for dudes.
Because Dr. Squatch didn't bet on influencers, they bet on comedians.
Yes.
Stand-up comedians.
All right, but Jack, I gotta ask you before we kick off the story. Bath, bathing, being in a tub, yay or nay?
Oh,
What are
being
you
in the
doing?
bathtub.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
Well, to quote a stand-up comedian, Jerry Seinfeld, being in a bath is like stewing in a soup of your own filth.
Yeah, since my germaphobes took over.
I'm a fan of the pre-bath shower, actually.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I need like a scoop of chlorine.
Well, I need a post-bath shower, Jack. It turns out, besties, the most viral soap right now is also the most controversial in the history of hygiene.
A soap made from used bath water.
That's right, get this. Actress Sydney Sweeney took a bath, and then a company used that bath water and turned it into a soap for sale.
That company is Dr. Squatch, a male-focused bathing products brand. It's basically the successor to Axe Body Wash.
If you're a teenage boy and you get your first peach fuzz on your cheeks, I'm pretty sure you end up buying Dr. Squatch right after that, Jack.
Here's how they describe themselves. Natural handmade soap to men who want to feel like a man and smell like a champion.
Dr. Squatch's soap basically smells like protein and flannel wrapped in a soap.
And apparently, it's working.
This company's doing $400 million a year in revenue. They're seeking a fundraise at $2 billion.
We can't find a single private soap brand with more revenue or higher valuation than Dr. Squatch.
We repeat, nothing tech about this. They make shampoo and they're valued half as much as a lift.
So how is Dr. Squatch the largest private soap brand in America?
Well, Jack and I jumped in TBOY style and we discovered it's stand-up comedy.
The top marketing trend for Zillennial brands is to use influencers.
That's right. You pay Alex Earl $100K and she does an Instagram post for you. Voila.
But instead of chasing influencer dollars, Dr. Squatch chose stand-up comedians.
Interestingly, Dr. Squatch is the headline sponsor of Don't Tell Comedy Network.
That's a comedy group that hosts stand-up shows in 250 cities nationwide.
That's right. When that semi-pro comedian did a whole bit on airplane seatbelts, you can never really get him to say, what's the deal with the airline seatbelts?
The Dr. Squatch logo was right next to them.
But the numbers are kind of fascinating here because each of those comedy shows does less than 100 people in person in the room.
But the highlight clips find billions of viewers on YouTube and social media.
Jack, those are Dave Chappelle numbers right there, my friend.
Dr. Squatch found a way to get Super Bowl-sized exposure at Little League-sized prices.
And now we should point out that most brands are too nervous to sponsor comedy, right, Jack?
If you think this deal sounds too good to be true, it's the potential controversy. That's the catch.
Yeah, like if the comedian drops an offensive joke during the bit, you could get canceled by association, my friend.
Don't you try to filter what Wanda Sykes says on stage.
Oh, yeah, and you can't buy an insurance policy on offensive punchlines. Not a thing.
You sure about that?
Actually, Geico probably does offer that, Jack. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Dr. Squatch?
Dr. Squatch is benefiting from Jester's privilege.
The Jester's privilege. Yetis, in medieval Europe, there was a secret known in the royal courts that the Jester had the most power.
Only the Jester could tell the truth to the king's face and not face punishment.
Because the Jester's role was to entertain, not challenge. Their humor gave them immunity.
In business today, we've said that humor can transcend all demographics.
Besties, Dr. Squatch is investing in stand-up comedians because of the power they hold in society.
But also the leeway they get from society to not get canceled by association.
And that is Jester's privilege. It's exactly what Dr. Squatch is banking on. Hey Yetis, if you're a bestie, take a sec and hit that subscribe button.
And like this video while you're at it. If you leave a comment, by the way, we'll read it.
For our third and final story, America's most trusted news source, believe it or not, it's the Weather Channel.
And the Weather Channel may actually have the sunniest forecast in all of media.
All right, here we go, Jack. You ready? Diapers.com, hotels.com, 1-800-Flowers.com.
Some brands, they put it right out there. They waste no time in telling you what they're doing.
Well, first of all, maybe the Weather Channel.
A channel 100% dedicated to, is it sunny or cloudy?
The Weather Channel. They're dealing with the oldest content type on Earth.
Their only competition is the view from your window.
Here's the news. While every old school media business is losing trust right now, the Weather Channel is gaining trust.
YouGov just did a poll of 2,200 American adults in the month of May. And overall, just 54% of Americans trust the news that's published.
Conspiracy TikTok, it's just more entertaining than NPR.
But trust in one source, the Weather Channel, rose by 6 percentage points this year.
That's right, 75% of Americans find the Weather Channel to be trustworthy.
The Weather Channel is number one among the 54 news outlets in the survey.
Yeah.
And they're number one for the 4th year in a row.
I mean, the 25% who don't trust the Weather Channel, Jack, probably just got rained on during their wedding day, and now they're blaming the Weather Channel.
Now, the Weather Channel is actually 2 times more trusted than the number 2 news outlet, which is the BBC.
And it's nearly 3 times more trusted than the Wall Street Journal. Honestly, Jack almost named his third child Frosty because of the Weather Channel.
Okay.
I had to tell the people, Jack. I had to tell the people.
I mean, the stories about news trustworthiness, I'm going to have to fact check you on that one, Nick.
But besties, despite that huge trust asset, the Weather Channel's business has been tossed around more than a used umbrella.
But the Weather Channel started in 1982, when John Coleman, a meteorologist at Good Morning America, thought that weather could be the main event.
And Jack, what was his pitch about weather being theater?
A channel dedicated to 24/7 weather reports. So he hired 100 meteorologists and snagged data from the National Weather Service.
Before the iPhone, the Weather Channel is the one who innovated with geo-targeting.
And they did it with local weather on the 8s.
That's right. That was personalized media for you before Facebook.
Now, eventually, the Weather Channel got bought by private equity, NBC, IBM, even a comedian.
Even at one point, a comedian owned the Weather Channel for a 6-year period.
And that's around the time that they shifted their content to what we're calling weathertainment.
Yeah, weathertainment. Like you'd get 1 hour of forecasts and then 1 hour of Storm Chaser Season 7.
The most dangerous job on earth, standing outside in a hurricane.
But the Weather Channel didn't stop innovating, Jack. Like they were also the first organization to give names to winter storms.
Starting in 2012 with Winter Storm Athena. Kind of a scare tactic, but it got me checking into the Weather Channel more in 2012.
A profit puppy of a scare tactic. Well, now the Weather Channel is owned by private equity again. So they're making their money with 4 different revenue streams.
First is aviation. They get paid by Delta and United for weather forecasts.
Second is media. They got a streaming direct-to-consumer product, and they're still part of every cable package.
Third is consulting. Vail Ski Resorts is probably a client.
But Jack and I think that we know the sunniest forecast for the Weather Channel's business of all. So, Jack, we've got a low-pressure takeaway system coming in with a 73% chance of takeaway. Can you please give us the takeaway advisory for our buddies over at the Weather Channel?
The most undervalued element of advertising is the weather.
Yetis, think about it. More than anything else, it is the weather that determines your spending decisions.
My weekend, where I spend money, is completely dependent on whether it's sunny or rainy.
That's why every month, 330 million people check the Weather Channel on TV, on the app, or on the website.
And those 330 million people are there to check the weather. Companies can advertise based on the weather forecast.
For example, Tyson Foods is actually a big buyer of Weather Channel ads adjacent to sunny weather because they know you're grilling, so they want to pitch you hot dogs.
If there's a hurricane in the forecast, Home Depot can buy ads on weather.com because you're buying plywood.
Even digital companies are affected by the weather. Like if it's pouring this weekend, that's an opportunity to promote an HBO Max binge.
Add it all up, Yetis, Americans trust the Weather Channel way more than any other news outlet.
And that's why advertisers have a rainy day fund for the Weather Channel. Literally. Jack, could you whip up the takeaways for us for Ceviche Wednesday?
Netflix stock hit an all-time high as they shocked and awed with a dozen epic trailers.
But Netflix's Tudum Contentfest is the worst thing you're going to watch on Netflix this year. It's kind of anti-Netflix.
For our second story, Dr. Squatch is doing $400 million in soap sales by sponsoring stand-up comedians.
Dr. Squatch is banking on Jester's privilege, power, and forgiveness.
And our third and final story is the Weather Channel. For the 4th year in a row, they're the #1 most trusted news in the country.
Here it comes, Jack. And the weather forecast is the most underrated variable in advertising.
I don't care about pressure systems. I just want to know the temperature and the chance of precipitation.
You're a real feel guy, aren't you, Jack? You're a real feel. You better factor in that humidity for Jack, guys.
But Yetis, this pod's not over yet. Here's what else you need to know today.
First, Meta just signed a 20-year deal to take all the electricity from one nuclear power plant in the state of Illinois.
Why? Data centers. Your AI chatbot questions require a ton of juice.
And Meta, they want to become carbon neutral someday, which nuclear power is.
It's also a trend. Microsoft announced last year they would buy all the power from 3 Mile Island, the infamous plant in Pennsylvania that is getting reopened.
And second, Elon Musk was given a farewell on Friday in the White House from President Trump.
And he said recently in a bunch of interviews that he was stepping back from politics, working on his companies again.
But on Tuesday, Elon jumped right back in, calling the Republican budget passed by the House a disgusting abomination.
It puts Elon strongly at odds with President Trump, whom the big, beautiful bill was named by.
And finally, McKinsey is using artificial intelligence for PowerPoint presentations, which the company confessed to Bloomberg.
McKinsey actually built their own generative AI so that they could enter private client information and it would remain private.
Yeah, so like AI is doing the first draft of the pitch decks, the stuff junior employees would typically do at a consulting firm.
It's a bummer to hear this if you're a company paying top dollar for McKinsey's MBAs.
Chat GP Kinsey costs $19 a month, and it will put arrows going in different directions on each and every slide.
Does McKinsey do animations from slide to slide?
No, that's the big, beautiful Bane arrow, Jack. The big red Bane arrow. That's what that is. Now, time for the best fact yet. This one sent in by our buddy Cheddar McFeta because it happens to be National Cheese Day.
It's National Cheese Day, so we've got a fact about bread, okay?
Here we go. Bread bag twist ties. You know what they look like. They're actually color-coded, which you probably didn't know.
This is actually great news. The color of the twist tie that's tying your bag of bread at the top It depends on the day that the bread was baked.
Okay, a blue twist tie, that's a Monday bread. A green twist tie, that's a Tuesday bread. And a red twist tie, that's a Thursday bread.
Friday's white, Saturday's yellow. What about Wednesday and Sunday?
Well, they don't do bread deliveries those days, so they don't get a color of twist tie.
There is hope in the world. There's a meaning to the color of your twist tie.
Yetis, you look fantastic today, whether you're 6'4" or 4'6". We're not judging.
When I went to Middlebury College and met with the football coach, I put a pack of index cards in both shoes to be an inch taller.
The Brown Lacrosse website literally had me listed at 6'2".
That is the most outrageous embellishment of height I've ever heard.
That's if I have a helmet on, cleats, and I'm standing on somebody else. So besties, remember to tell a buddy today to check out this episode, HYHTBOY. Have you heard the best one yet?
Nick and I will see you tomorrow.
And before we go, a happy 60th birthday to legendary Yeti Danny Herrera down in Panama City, Panama.
Nick, have you heard about Tucker Scott, whose birthday it is today? He turns 12 in Henderson, Tennessee.
Okay, but tell me about his portfolio, Jack.
He owns shares of NVIDIA and Tesla.
That's right, Tucker Scott.
It's boom times in the Scott household.
He's outperforming all of us. And Rufio Hooks down in Nashville, Tennessee is writing songs and celebrating a birthday.
Happy 52nd birthday to Adam Akarovsky in Toronto, Ontario, listening to T-Boy right now with the family.
And Jason Dam over in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Wonderful city, wonderful birthday, Jason.
Happy birthday to Dawkins the dog, who's turning 4 in Oceanside, California.
Who's a good boy? And a congratulations to legendary Eddies, Kim and Tyler Malik, the co-founders of Salt and Straw.
Get this, Nick gets to interview them tonight on their book, which is just publishing. It's an ice cream recipe book tour.
Yetis, if you're in San Francisco, you can come over to Omnivore Books tonight. I'll get to interview Kim and Tyler. They are just brilliant, creative, and business minds. It's amazing what they've created with Salt and Straw.
If you're going to the event to see Nick interview the Salt and Straw people at Omnivore Books, you should know this is not a dairy-free event.
No. Bring the lactose. And Erica and Dara Yu in Rancho Palos Verdes is graduating from middle school. Congratulations, Erica.
This is Jack. I own stock of Netflix and Disney.